Hey guys, it's me, Cupid. Today and I have schizophrenia. I want to make sure that I say that at the beginning, so you guys know it's not just some random person talking about schizophrenia, right? So I wanted to talk about schizophrenia and poverty today. It is quite a big subject, especially with how schizophrenia is caused. So thought I'd get into that. So, income inequality is associated with numerous negative health outcomes. There is evidence that ecological level socio-environmental factors may increase risk for schizophrenia. Countries characterized by a large rich-poor gap may be at increased risk of schizophrenia. We suggest that income inequality impacts negatively on social cohesion, eroding social capital, and that chronic stress associated with living in highly disparate societies places individuals at risk of schizophrenia. All right. So I read up on a few different studies that were done to determine this. Some studies were able to prove that schizophrenia was definitely caused by poverty, and that could be whether you have genetic factors, but that it was pushed out by by the economic issues, not by the genetic factors. So people may have the genetic factors, doesn't mean that it necessarily that they end up having schizophrenia. But if you have the genetic factors, poverty can increase your risk of getting schizophrenia. If that makes sense. I don't know if that does. Although genetics are known to play a part in the development of mental illness, a new British study reveals that environment may also have a significant role. When researchers compared adults who had just been diagnosed with schizophrenia, they found that a significant number of them had been raised in poverty. So this was a different study that I read about. There was another study, that was the first one that I showed you, where they definitely determined that. This one was a maybe the cause. A new study suggests there is an environmental cause in addition to a genetic cause for developing the mental illness. So this was another study that, so this one they actually had multiple studies, where they had one in Denmark, New Zealand, and a couple other places. So let's read about the New Zealand one. Earlier research published in New Zealand Journal of Psychology found that it's not just poverty that affects schizophrenia risk, but relative poverty, when people don't have minimum amount of income needed in order to reach the average standard of living in their particular society. This figure can change over time. So you can be poor now, but not poor later, or you can be moderate now and then poor later. The numbers, it's usually that way, the second way, rather than the first way. Prices go up all the time, especially on housing, so your level of poverty will change with those things as well. All right. University of Helsinki in Finland, for example, children from poor families are more likely than those from affluent backgrounds to experience other familiar difficulties such as physical and emotional conflicts. This could raise the risk of child abuse, which has been linked with increased risk for subsequently developing psychosis. Similarly, psychosocial risk factors are known to accumulate in families with lower socioeconomic conditions. So I don't know if that made sense to you guys, but they are saying that they're not completely sure whether or not it is caused, schizophrenia is caused by environmental factors like poverty, but it does say that they are pretty sure. So Dr. Frank says there's a lot of research saying that stress has a very negative effect on kids' psychosocial development. Both resources and parental time can serve to protect kids facing toxic stress. When parents have low incomes, it can mean inconsistent schedules because parents have to work long hours and multiple jobs, and they may not be able to afford quality daycare. all that can get in the way of potential good parenting. There's a lot of other things that can cause that issue as well. So they do need to do more studies on whether or not this is a cause, because even though some studies have proven it, other studies have proven it differently. And like I have said in the past, science changes, so not everything is considered fact. In fact, they don't use the term fact in science because their studies can always be proven wrong by another study. Other information comes forward and new things are found. So it's harder to identify whether or not this is fact because more information could be released that change whether or not that is true or not. So although many studies have documented a positive correlation between poverty and the prevalence of mental illness, the cause order is still unclear. Is poverty caused by or a cause of mental illness? And the last one, really small print, so I'm going to read it really close to my face. For people who have schizophrenia and don't get treatment, the result is far too often that they end up homeless or in jail. Approximately 200,000 individuals with schizophrenia or manic depressive bipolar disorder illness are homeless, constituting 1/3 of the approximately 600,000 homeless population. These 200,000 individuals comprise more than the entire population of many U.S. cities, such as Hartford, Connecticut, Charleston, South Carolina, Reno, Nevada, Boise, Idaho, Scottsdale, Arizona, Orlando, Florida, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Abilene, Texas, or Topeka, Kansas. At any given time, there are more people with untreated severe psychiatric illnesses living on America's streets than are receiving care in hospitals. Approximately 90,000 individuals with schizophrenia or manic depressive illness are in hospitals receiving treatment for their disease. So I don't know how much you guys enjoyed this topic, but I thought it was pretty intriguing. It was definitely something that I had seen other people talking about schizophrenia, whether or not this is true or not. But I do believe that it plays a very big factor. I think that we have seen studies that have proven that poverty plays a huge role in other illnesses outside of just mental illness. And these things can affect you or be affected by a lot of different things. Stress. Stress has been proven to cause all kinds of health issues, including mental illness. And other things that go along with it. Poor nutrition, not enough hobbies, or having some free time to yourself, or relaxation, things like that. You don't get those things that you need to have. Being homeless can cause all kinds of issues, lack of food, lack of housing, relaxation. Again, the places that you need to be able to refresh yourself, clean yourself. Dirt can cause all kinds of issues too. It can make you feel dirty as well as make you actually dirty, obviously. So I don't know if that was helpful, but I hope that helps you guys. And maybe you guys can see people a little bit differently. I don't know how you guys feel about people in poverty, but I definitely feel like there is more that needs to be done for people in those situations. And maybe you guys will see that the same way as well. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay beautiful, stay awesome, stay unique, stay amazing, stay you, and above all else, you guys love yourselves. Sorry, today was one of those days where I'm not all there in the head. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a weird day. Anyways, peace and love, guys.